reality of what? What are the words we frequently use? Impermanence, the reality of interconnectedness as well, which means that whatever is dying is never really gone, that it has simply taken new form. And that we understand this then well as it regards our children, don't we? We understand that there's something, sometimes we use words like legacy, right? Or some continuation of our goodness, right? Of our commitment, of our wish for what? Happiness, a better world. And we raise our children with this in mind, don't we? We don't raise them, right, to do harm, right? We raise them to be contributors, to be of benefit. And so if we could understand that that is us as well, isn't it? Even if we don't see them every day, even if we don't talk to them, even if we don't have our preferred relationship with them. And we tend to conditionalize this reality, don't we, a little bit? Like, if I only saw more, then, well, nothing. The goodness of them is the goodness of them. Its expression is its expression, right? And so be careful about if only they could get to the right college, or if only they would do the yoga training, or if only they would love me back the way I want, need, hope, wish, pray, forget it. And then in the Buddhist teaching, something I'm going to talk about today a bit, which is called right resolve. Right resolve. It is the second of the Noble Eightfold Path, followed very naturally without striving from right view. Right view, and right thought, resolve, intention. Anybody think of other words for that? I know those three would be commonly seen. Aspiration, and then the word right. What would be other words for that word? Because right does not imply wrong, other, different, not yours, just mine at all. It says what? Yes, appropriate. What's another word?
Wise.
Wise. What's another one? Skillful. Thank you. What's another one?
Unconditioned.
Unconditioned. In accord with the truth, the Dharma, we could say then, of the present moment. Who could know it then before you're in it? Right. Right. So when you go, no, that's the way, to the neighbor who doesn't cut down their fan palm fronds, just heard that, right? Somebody went, yeah, can't believe those things are sitting up there. And I said, well, it's the tree. That's the way the tree grows and dies. Yeah, but you know, wish we cut, you can look right over there. There they are. They're right. And I keep saying, we all have preferences. And your preference isn't the problem, then, is it? You can like the fan palm fronds cut. This is not a dilemma. But it becomes a dilemma when we now what? Assign, ascribe, demand, expect, hold on to, separate from those who are not cutting their palm fronds, right? Right. Going, you guys, bad neighbors, the guys who cut them, good right? Creating separation, disconnect. And actually, then we understand an essential aggression. However microaggression that is, it is still an aggression, and that aggression grows seeds. It is a seed, and it grows what? Only one thing. What is it? That seed grows only one thing.
Negative.
Other aggression. And as growth is growing, it doesn't stay micro, does it? It becomes bigger and more and fills more space. And Rupert Sheldrake, a guy I quote often, a biologist, says what? 2 times doubles. its level of aggression. 2 more times. Now 4, doubling its capacity for aggression. Until we have an entire species, it says, that is what now? Aggressive. An entire species now of aggression. Based on whose mind? My mind. All of our minds, right? Because it's so easy then, right? Easier defaulted than it is to do what? Generate goodwill, generate a sense of connectedness, generate compassion, generate the inspiration, aspiration, right thought for no harm. It's easier. Why is it easier? Why is aggression easier? Automatic, brain stemmed, already built for fight flight, not too far from the mouth, as I say. Look at this, very short distance, almost know where it's got to go. And the other, goodwill, compassion, regard for other, we call it exchange for self and other, equal, right? Whether they have palm fronds or they don't, whether they're your color or they're not, whether you like their politic or you don't, equal. Right? And then that takes something else, doesn't it? It can't come from here. This actually has no capacity for that. I'm either bonding with you because you're like me, or I'm trying to kill you because you're not. That's all that's here. And so then we have to access this neocortex. And that takes a lot more what? Intention, effort, right? Commitment. I've got to keep placing the mind. I've got to keep placing the mind. I have to keep placing the mind. We call it guarding the mind. We have to guard the mind from that habit with intentioning. And that's the true definition of wise, right, skillful, appropriate thought. You get this idea? And so that second noble endeavor, right thought, is something I want to read for you a little bit today. I want to read from the teachings very much on purpose. So the Pali word is sama sankappa, known as right resolve, right intention, and is the second of the Eightfold Path. I want to make sure you know where this is in case you want to read about it more. It is in the wisdom factors. Right view first means seeing oneself as another, understanding the validity, the rightness, the goodness of that other, equal to you, equal, that's view, interconnected, interdependent, cannot be otherwise, never separate. No matter what you're thinking and they're thinking, cannot be separated. And then we're now understanding will not survive, will we? We will not survive if we don't get clearer about that. This world will end as we know it. And we're getting very clear, right? And we'll talk some more about that as well. So that's where it comes from. And what is right resolve? Being resolved on renunciation. That renunciation, we don't have to panic. It doesn't mean you can't have your chocolate cake. Renunciation here means no ill will, non-harming, non-reactivity. And we go, right? So renunciation, like our favorite word now, because it means I am safe and you are safe now from that commitment. Renunciation, right? Freedom from ill will. That when that judgment, when that condemnation, when that really, I just heard myself say to myself yesterday at our birthday party from the kids, I'm looking at my husband and I go, really? I didn't say it out loud, but the seed is there. That seed is harming. Who is it harming to? Everybody. Everybody. Now, nobody heard me say, really? My husband immediately went, didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. Literally looked at him like, ugh. Oh, right. Right. He got it. He got it. I didn't even have to eye roll that one. I literally just thought, really? Now I'm trying to fix my face. Right? But you can't, can you? You can't fix your face. It's already there. It's already alive. It's already been communicated. And so guard the mind, right? It doesn't mean we won't do those, right? It doesn't mean we won't make those errors. It doesn't mean the flash won't happen. It means the minute you can then make contact with it. And by the way, it will never feel good. Ever. It'll just feel justified. It'll feel righteous. It'll feel true. Like I get to, because really? You actually said that out loud? Right. This is called right resolve, sama sankappa. And this is what the Buddha had to say. And how is one made pure? In 3 ways: by mental action. There is the case where a certain person is not covetous. He does not covet the belongings of others. Does this sound familiar? We have this in other traditions as well. He does not covet the belongings of others. Oh, that what belongs to others would be mine, he thinks. He then bears ill will and is corrupt in this resolve. What do you think that means? What does that mean? He is now corrupt from right resolve. Because he has already thought it, he has already set in motion the Dharma wheel towards ill will. It's true, right? And then we go, why meditate? Why sit still? Why be silent? Why know the quality of one's own mind? Because we have already committed that which will end in real harm. It's already begun. We are already a part of that wave, right? And then, right, he thinks, may these beings be free from animosity, free from oppression, free from trouble, and may they look after themselves with ease. He now has right view and is not warped in the way he saw things. There is what is given, what is offered, what is sacrificed. These are the fruits of good actions. There is this world and the next. There is the mother and the father. There are those who are reborn and those who are not born again. He's just talking about levels of right intention, right thought there. You don't care. This is a cosmology that's not as important as what. So what was the correction? What did the Buddha himself do? He then recognized and offered on purpose with intention and repetition, it says. Not once, you keep saying it till you know its truth. Right? Who takes time to do this? Nobody. Nobody. I'll use my really moment, right, as a real moment. So I went, really? Thought it. My husband went, and I went, this is a man, I think to myself, who has done nothing but tried to contribute to my ease, my happiness, and my well-being. 52 years. I am here and well because of his essential goodwill. I forgot because he's annoying. He says things no one should say out loud. And then I remember with goodwill in my own heart, right? The goodness of him. And then I repeat it over and over again till I know the truth of it, till I remember the truth. Right. And then really seems ridiculous. And then can I bring goodwill, compassion, and non-harm to me for having thought it? Can I extend the goodness, the kindness to myself in my own moment of vulnerability? My moment of vulnerability, my moment of fear, my moment of pain, confusion, greed. Can I? I can, and I can do it better today from the repetition yesterday that will now be employed also today. Right? I will guard the mind and this good heart more today. And what else would you do? Really? And Rupert Sheldrake says there's nothing better to do because you now have, and this is clear, double the requirements for the goodwill to offset the ill will. You can't, it's not a 1-for-1 anymore. You will now bring twice as much goodwill because what? This supercharged, turbo acted capacity is so potent. Right. And so we say it again and again. And then we recite the 4 phrases. We come up with our own. We wake up with them. We say them throughout the day. And we say them at the end of the day. For who? Everyone. Everyone. Right? Do we get this idea? And so when people go, as long as you're just thinking it, but you didn't say it, you didn't snark, you didn't make the face, it's all right. And actually, the science says it isn't all right. It will actually cause harm, and the harm will be multi-directional. It will kill everyone.
The opposite of that also true.
Yes.
I mean, plant the seed of aggression and it grows, but plant the seed of love and is it at the same pace? Or
No,
it just seems
it's not at the same pace. It says you will have to work harder on the love than you will ever have to work on the hate. Isn't it true? Like, who doesn't know this? Yeah, right? Goodwill like Teflon, ill will, negativity like Velcro. Yeah. Embedded, implanted, embodied, and lived. So harder, more intention required, more thoughts necessary, more repetitions essential. And then I remember myself saying at the Zen Center, this feels a little too much like prayer to me. Why are we saying this? It feels prayer-like. And I don't want to get over there with somebody else and what they're doing. I don't know what's there. I don't have confidence in that. But I do actually have it. And when I went to Joko and interview, I said, I don't know about this. Repeat. It's like bouncing off me. And she said, there is no other who will free the world than you. So you are looking for somebody else because you think it's not you. You think it doesn't have to be you. You think somebody else is going to step in and do it for you. Like who? You just said, I don't believe in that. Except you do. You want it to be somebody else. Oh. Don't you? And I went, yeah, I don't want to work this hard. I'm lazy, basically. I just want it to go well. Don't you? I just don't think it should have to be me. She set me straight a couple thousand times. So do we get this? Right. And then how do we practice is the second part. How do we practice? And then we're going to do something slightly different today, because we're going to practice recognizing thoughts as thoughts. We're going to practice resting first in the breath in the vast open space, so we can just see the breath as a thing happening in this vast expanse, but can pay attention to it, can know what's happening. And then we're going to go to sensations, and then we're going to go to thoughts, resting in that vast open quality of what? Mind. Your own mind. That's the sky-like quality is actually you, your own mind. And then we can let those thoughts about palm fronds, thoughts about really, thoughts, right, simply just come and go. And of course, in the Buddhist text, they talk about passing like clouds in a vast open sky. And then the phrase, not me, not mine, not I. Just thought. I didn't grab it. I didn't take it. I didn't believe it. Just rant thought. Right? And then we act skillfully, don't we? We don't claim it. We don't go, I'm bad, because the thought was there. Thought is thought. It's not a problem. Then offset, corrected, acknowledged as just simply thought. Not me, mine. And then we, with intention, with right aspiration, with right thought, employ that which we do aspire to. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. We do that on purpose, and the purposeful thought has Velcro, doesn't it? The purposeful thought has Velcro, and that Velcro is larger than the autopiloted negativity Velcro. It's right. Do we get, we understand? You guys know what I'm saying, right? Everybody understand it? They're on Zoom? Yeah. And so you have an autocorrect built right into you, recognizing the really, without blame, shame, judgment, condemnation, criticism, hatred, go, I understand the truth of this human life. I understand its vulnerabilities. I understand its preferences. This is not a problem. May we all be free then from this affliction. And then you say it as many times as it takes. I guess I've heard till you actually know it. Right? Till you know it. Not just while you're repeating it, like I did the loving kindness phrases for about 9 years, going, I don't think so. This is not true. This is ridiculous. Right? I said to Sharon Salzberg herself, yes, I said it. I went, you know, it's like throwing carrots and potatoes in a pot. I don't know. You got something, but really, does it feed anybody? Really? And she went, I know. That's what she said. I know, right? It's taken me longer to believe that I am worthy and that what I say matters.
It's also, that reminds me of the story of stone soup. You talk about, you throw the carrots and the potatoes and does it feed anybody? And maybe not yet, but you start it and then other people follow the example.
That's right. And then somebody brings their potato, right? And somebody brings a root that won't kill you. This is cool. And then that was the stone soup. I think there's actually something in the Bible like that. And don't we know that taking what you have and offering it will inspire both you and others? And we're gonna talk about that today. You want to do that now before we sit? Yeah, you have to go. Yeah,
Just as part of, we have now created an ongoing relationship with World Central Kitchen. It's really lovely. They send us updates all the time with all of their activities. And they just sent us one.
talk up, Lisa, so they can hear you.
Central Kitchen has been keeping us updated on all of their relief efforts all over the world. But as you would probably think, in particular, they've been keeping us updated on their response efforts with the LA fires, with all the wildfires. And, of course, we say LA now, that continues to grow. It's not just LA. But what they said in the email, I thought was amazing. At the beginning of the week, while 90,000 people remained under evacuation, so many people, even if they're allowed to go back in their homes, they're not livable. So they have put together a network of something like 65 different restaurant and food truck partners. I thought that was really cool.
Very cool.
They're serving thousands of meals daily. And to date, and that was Tuesday, they had provided more than 280,000 meals to communities that have been affected by the fires. And starting January 23rd, they're having another matching opportunity because someone donated another $1 million.
Yes.
So whatever anyone sends, obviously will get doubled. So we've been talking about it on the EMC board, and we thought, here's a great opportunity again. We already have one donor of $1,000. So there's an opportunity to match that or beyond. And so we thought we would try to move on that fairly quickly because it really is needed right now.
The 20, what date?
It already started.
It's already
They're-
started.
Yeah, they usually keep going. I can't
Yeah,
give An end date,
okay,
but they usually keep it going close to a month, maybe. I
Okay.
think it's lucky it didn't last that long, but I, at least for myself, whatever donation I would make, I'd be making it next. couple
I would,
weeks.
I would make it sooner.
Well, I'd be, well, I
Yeah, I'd
will.
make it sooner. Yeah. Let's make it sooner.
Do EMC, because it'd be great for us to pull it all together and be able to
Yes, double it and double it.
double it and double.
Yes, and we have that $1,000. So if you give 50, we're gonna take 50 from that $1,000 and donate $100, which will now be matched by World Central Kitchen to become $200. So just so you know, you're growing. This is exactly what we just talked about, isn't it? Exactly what we just talked about. So you go, I don't have $50, I have $5. This is good. Your $5 becomes 10, your 10 becomes 20. Don't fall into but that doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It matters 300,000 meals for people who are devastated, going to continue to be, because we don't even understand the long-term impact of this. And as we said, many Saturdays in a row, this will also be us, won't it? This will also be us, won't it? And I don't know what day, I don't know what time. I only know that you too are going to need the help of others. Just like I do. So are you. Just like they do, right? So are we. And so don't mistake that. Go ahead and just talk up.
Can I just add two things? One thing, it really struck me. I was away at work last week in Dallas. And while that was happening, I had people from different parts of the country reaching out to me and saying, are you okay? And I'm like, what are you asking me if I'm okay? Because I realized sitting here in Carlsbad, Encinitas, whatever, 45 minutes north is a fire, in Toronto. 45 minutes east is Escondido, 45 minutes south, San Diego, La Jolla,
Mission.
Bishop Valley, or Basha Valley. Yeah, anyway, there were several. They were surrounded. I mean, you could say, yes, we were safe, but it's just, in the.
For now.
Yeah. Now, and I thought it really, really struck me. That was one thing that struck me. And the other thing that struck me was when you were talking about microaggressions that turn into macroaggressions, and the opposite of small acts can turn into bigger acts. We have an opportunity, a little bit of a balancing act right now, because one of the recent changes that happened in these last few days, Jeff Andres got kicked off of the, I can't, the President's Council on Fitness.
Yes.
With the, that he was a terrorist sympathizer because they provided meals to Gaza. So just, again, I thought, well, this is a good time for us to do something good in that direction, to maybe balance it out, because who knows what people do with that information, and that could cause potential harm from people getting real relief. So our timing is really good for this.
It is. It's always really good. Now is always good. Okay, we put that in. Lisa has to leave. And we wanted you to be aware. So let's prepare to sit. There's only one other thing to do. Then finding supported, easeful, and awakened posture. And that takes a moment, right? We're bringing a couple different elements to bear. Stable in the seat. Stable in the heart. We set the bodhicitta heart on fire. Literally. We ignite it. We remember ourselves and all those others just like us who are deserving of care, protection, ease, and well-being. And then we set the mind. And the way we're going to begin today is a little bit different than just resting in luminosity. In luminosity, there is no object but luminosity itself, just resting in the sense of vast open space. And we construct as best we can a 360-degree sense of that space, above and below included, all around. And we do not distinguish, which is very different than the early school. We do not distinguish space from objects. We see them as a part of a whole. So the tree is not an obstruction. The sound is not violating silence. They are a part of each other, just as we are. And this is often the beginning of a dualistic, polarized frame. There's silence and then there's sound. No, silence does not exist without sound. Sound cannot exist without silence. This is the whole of the Heart Sutra. You don't have to read it. You have to know it. So see if you can open this sense of objects appearing in space but separate as everything interconnected. Resting the mind in open space and then getting bigger to include the breath. The breath, vast open space itself. Wholly interconnected. So very differently than concentrated breath practice, Where there is only the breath, this is actually never possible. This is the awakened heart mind, the heart mind of bodhicitta, open, vast, empty, inclusive of all things. Now placing attention on the movements of the breath in that space, not just in the body, because the body is also a part of that vast space. Could you feel, sense, see, and know the truth of this body breath, not separate, but an essential, connected, vaporous, porous reality of that vast space? You're taking in that space, you are that space through every hair, pore, muscle, bone, organ. If you could see yourself as a screen door, as a vapor, you would be closer to the truth. The whole body, all that is within, all that is around, connected, breathing. With each breath, we keep the mind open, luminous, radiant, alive. There is no sound separate from you. We embody and make live that right view. Nothing separate, everything an essential part of the whole. With each breath, we're opening into that Dharma, into the truth. And even in this, we are guarding the mind. We are turning toward the essential truths. And then we place the mind on purpose, not only on the breath within the vast scape, not only on the body and sensations within the body, not separate from the whole. In no way separate as in me, mine, and I. We then open and include thoughts, but we do not uh, make smaller that space. We're resting back again in that open space. The true quality of our own awakened heart mind. And if you're just noticing this sense of ease, of restfulness in that radiant, open, luminous space, just rest there. And with that ease, with that connectedness, we are aspired to the good, recognizing that we are a part of all things and all things are part of this incarnated I. And so the awakened heart mind of bodhicitta is inspired here. And then we can set with intention, with resolve, with commitment to offer goodwill. To offer compassion. To commit oneself again and again to non-harm. And one of the mistakes is that we have to put language to the heart. And in fact, it is not true. We can simply inspire the felt sense. We don't have to think it. We could, in fact, be inspired to an image. Placing the mind in bright resolve, wise thought, wise imagery, felt sense. The Tibetans would maybe consider placing an image of Kuan Yin, known as Avalokiteshvara, infinite eyes and hands, holding the cries of the whole of the world and healing them. And then you would breathe that image into your own body. And so you could pick Avalokiteshvara, you could pick Grandma Irene, you could pick an amalgam of whatever image might come to mind. Inspiring that goodwill. Feel its ease, its warmth, its spaciousness, the uncluttered nature of mind. We do not mistake the thought, just as we do not mistake the breath as our own. There is no struggle, there's no need for resistance. We simply understand thought as manifestation of conditioning. And in its very recognition, it is liberated, free. We simply let it arise and appear in its vaporous form, and then we let it go. And most thoughts we simply can let arise from the vapor, appear, and fall away. Nothing more to do. And that's quite often the majority of thoughts. But if there are thoughts of ill will, thoughts of self doubt, thoughts of recrimination, thoughts of judgment, we recognize them and we offer the antidote. May I recognize this as a seed of suffering. May I commit myself to healing it for not only myself, but all beings. And this invites that kind, loving, compassionate attention. And we only offer the antidote when we notice that there is not just a random appearing dissolving thought, but where the thought becomes repetitive. We offer refuge, we offer relief, we offer the good medicine. May I be free from this affliction. May I recognize it as fear. A part of this human condition that we share. Not me, not mine, not I. And if you're just feeling that sense of wide open, vast space with ease, this is it. May we all have happiness, true, abiding, unconditioned happiness. May we all be free from suffering, all afflictions and all addictions. And may we know their cause. May we be grateful and glad for our infinite blessings and use those very blessings to be of benefit. Equaling the greatest joy. May we rest and dwell in this vast, open, awakened heart mind. Refuge for all beings. Like it or not. And may this practice this very day, may it contribute and may it continue. Felt sense. Be watchful of the words. The words are useful when we have already constructed the language. We've already got the words. The words are already happening, right? We're already going, what about this? What about that? How come this? How come that? And if that's actually happening, other words, because we're already employing that, are useful. If you are not doing that, don't drag it. Yeah, you don't need the repetitions there. You might choose to just offer that felt sense, right? A greater space, a greater felt sense, a greater warmth, a greater connectedness, a greater kindness. And that doesn't come in only words are simply a form, usually met best with other words, right? So if you're wording, you might use words. If you're not wording, you might not. So for those, I do pick this up from others, which is, well, I was just resting and then all these words started to come in. You wouldn't need those then. Don't feel like you take them on. And for sure, take them on when you're thinking, I can't figure out why I'm doing this. It's cold. And if you said that more than once, remember, then you might apply the antidote of other words. You might be necessary. It might not be necessary if that thought simply did what? Came and went, right? You'd let it go. Let it go. Why drag it back? And most of them will actually come and go. You'll have a whole large 80+% that you can't even remember what you thought right after you thought it. Let it go, right? Why swing that back around? We don't see thoughts, though, in any way as problems. By the way, we don't see thoughts as problems. We see thoughts as potential seeds that can carve direction, can carve circuitry. Right. And so if it's coming back around, you are starting the groove. And now you may want to replace, invoke, invite other thoughts as the beginning of the path. You get this idea, everyone? Yeah, don't work that hard if it's not needed. That's just work. Who needs more work? It's already hard. Does everyone on Zoom get what I'm saying there also? Right? We only use words if the manifestation of the mind is already in words. Yeah. And then that's useful, but be watchful. Sometimes words get employed correctly because we're employing the whole of the mind. And words are also, there's a whole language center for those of you who know a little about them, right? There's a whole language center. I want to employ the whole of the mind body towards this goodwill, towards this compassion. And then we might, without having, not responding to other words, but invoking the whole mind body, we could also invite words. Imagery, felt sense, right? You bring it all online. This is also understood to be valuable in times of real distress, real panic, right? Placing the mind not only on the object of goodwill, of the open space, but also invoking a certain quality and attitude of mind is good. You'd bring that there too, right? But in the practice, if you're not in an already conditioned state, you might not want that there. But there will be times when that is important because we are in a particularly painful, conditioned, distressed state. And then we bring it all, right? We put it all there. You get what I'm saying about this? I remember a moment when my mother's husband died, and I was dreading going to this funeral because I didn't really know what to say. I just didn't know what to say. And I was like, I'm going to come up short on this. I don't have words for this. My mother, it was sudden. My mother was devastated. She had lots of friends who I didn't know, and I didn't really feel like I needed to know, and was going to be in the middle of all this. And I got there and I could feel my own heart breaking for my mother and for those who loved my stepfather, who I couldn't have imagined that I would make contact with that, but I did. And I remember just being there next to her saying, may my heart break, right, to take hers in so that I'm not somehow separate from her or disconnected in some way. And it was just an instruction for me. Like, may I be pained like she is pained so that I can open to this too. And I didn't say anything. There were no words. I didn't have them. And at the end of that day, my mother said, I could feel you. I felt you there. I knew you were there. Right. And I had developed by then a little confidence in that truth. Just a little. And have since, that was over 25 years ago, have since developed much more. That placing my mind correctly, my heart correctly, was enough. No magic words, no, and then I could say the right thing and you were going to feel better, and forget it. Might be better not to, actually, because you're probably trying to fix yourself, help, right, get out of your own distress, not really be there for the other, right? And this is the quality that we're talking about. Thoughts from anyone? Zoom? Greg, were you trying to come on?
Well, I just wrote something there. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there this morning. One of my hearing aids went out. Working yesterday. I don't know what happened.
A lot like life there.
It's exactly like life. This is going on continuously, everything falling apart, including me. Anyway, I've just been realizing this fundamentalism in my thoughts, and you know how particularly the present political situation has tended to bring that on even more strongly, I think, in many of us. And I think of myself as being an open person and wanting to hear the other view. But when I see something that is, in my opinion, causing harm, you know, it's been difficult. And I see myself falling into it a lot. And most recently with my brother. And so trying to find that spot where I can be a listener, a good listener, and also open the conversation
Yes.
and try to get the conversation as open as possible. And, you know, it's my brother, you know, I love him a ton. And, you know, I disagree with him on a bunch of stuff, but to not throw him out with the bathwater, you know, he's a very smart guy in a lot of ways. And so how can I listen to him and be open to him? And then he's the starting point, because our whole country needs this absolutely to the nines. It's what we need right now. The more divisive we become, the more fundamentalist in our ideas, the more we foster this, what you've been talking about, this harm, hate, anger, all of this stuff.
Yes. All leading to suffering,
Separate,
right?
right,
It's gonna
separate.
hurt us all. It's gonna hurt us all.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
That'll be our downfall if we can't figure out a way.
Yes, it
You
will.
know,
It always has been our downfall,
yeah,
hasn't it? And we have now. Just really, how do I open to include perspectives and of others, and not maybe grip so tightly our own, like this, where did we get the idea that we had it right? Or that, you know, I don't know. Non-harm is my number one aspiration. And so there is, I don't see a way to do harm with others thinking as a way towards that. Right? There is no amount of judgment. There is no amount of writing. There is no, that is going to make any of this better for any of us. And so we hold our own belief thoughts a little bit more loosely as well. I suspect, right? I suspect it's required of us all. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody see in the practice itself the capacity of your own heart mind to hold everything? I noticed as I began the annoyance of the fountain, right? I started with, you know, I should unplug this thing. It's starting to get in my, starting to feel, it was completely not the issue, right? Not the issue. Just a small moment like that that can help us remember that it is not the truth of the fountain, but the mind that is greeting it, or not. Or not. Right.
Yeah, I like the sound of it.
There you go.
I didn't even notice this was the fountain.
That's right.
There was a moment it was I was so caught into a thought that I didn't hear the fountain at all, and then a moment later I heard it. Oh, that fountain's laughing. I laughed at myself, 'cause I was like, I didn't even hear it.
Wow, that fountain's loud. Now that I'm not thinking about it. Just, yeah, that's right.
Wait
So-
till I bring the wind chime.
Yes, we've got to be watchful of, right? And then we form thoughts about the fountain. Or we form thoughts about the other. Or we form thoughts about the thoughts. Right? And they're all thoughts. And we have to be, again, holding them lightly and being watchful that we don't buy into what Greg was talking about, this sort of essential fundamentalism that somehow, because I thought it's true, This is a big mistake. I thought it because I thought it. And I thought it because I was conditioned to think it, which is why some of you heard the fountain and some of you didn't hear the fountain. This is all habit. I am highly auditory. I was likely to hear it. You might not be. You were likely maybe not to hear it, but it still doesn't say anything about us or the fountain. Does it? Not either. You heard it, you didn't hear it, you liked it, you didn't like it. You voted for him, you didn't vote for him. Not so much. See, we have to be careful, right? It doesn't say what is more essentially true about us all, does it? Our wish to be happy, our wish to be safe, our wish to be well, our wish to be a contribution and to be contributed to as well. Right? All of that. So we are going to keep holding these ideas of that noble path in our minds. I'm going to be thinking about it while I'm gone in New Zealand, Australia, Tasmania, and Hawaii over the month of February. I'm very excited to go. I have now surrendered my luggage to my husband. Look, I don't know what to bring. Just you put things in. Yeah, I don't know. I truly do not care. Do not care. No, I don't care enough. I do want my comfy. I do have a very strong feeling about that. The shoes matter. Everything else I could care. I won't get to know New Zealand better in a skirt, a skirt, a sweater. It probably isn't going to matter much. That I could be comfortable enough will be helpful. I have plenty of stuff. You could probably just dump a drawer, right? And it'd all be fine. Yeah. Yep. I happen to have a lot of underwear. I have noticed. My friend actually, a joke, just wrote me saying, I only have 12 pair of underwear. And when I have 4,000, so you can borrow. I have an underwear thing going on here, evidently. Please feel free. There's some of that drawer probably they're back there. You can, right? And this is then how we get open-hearted. Right? We don't get stuck on it's got to be like this, or you've got to be like that, or it's got to be to enjoy the trip and be watchful of the mind. It says guard the mind in all of what you think it needs to be or not be in order to be okay. It is actually not true. Is it? That's not what you need to be okay. It isn't more or less underwear. Is it? It's the quality of mind that you're going to bring on that trip, which is why I don't care. And I don't mean don't care. I want everybody to be safe. I don't, right? Does it matter really towards joy, towards ease, towards connectedness if I have this or that? No. Right. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. And so watch that in you. The part of you that thinks if only I could get rid of this or I could get more of that, then I could be okay, because you have surrendered the whole of your capacity to those chimes. It'd be better. Right? I got this gong for this very same reason, right? The gong is here because someone said, you know what you need? You need a gong. Right? You know how many times I've hit that gong? Almost zero. You know who's hit the gong more? Dennis. Dennis has been the gong hitter of this whole. Dennis should have the gong is right, is the truth. So be watchful of that mind, and we can bring a curiosity, right? Like, wow, right? That's amazing that I could literally get caught in that believed thought. Believed thoughts are the beginning of all suffering, aren't they? The believed thought are the beginning of all suffering. And so we guard the mind. on purpose, right view, seeing all things as interconnected, including that thought, really actually contributing harm. Contributing harm. And I want us to pay very, very close attention, honestly, because without it, we spend too much time looking out there for what's right and wrong, and we do it in our politics like crazy, don't we? Out there, and you, and that, your belief thought, and yours, not guarding what's right here. And this is where it matters. This is the only authority you have, is how you then held the thought about the other who had the other thought. Yeah. And there is room, by the way, in that bodhicitta heart mind for them all. Actually, there is room for them all. And we will not resolve the separation till we hold them all. And as Greg said, listen, I'm going to have to listen to my brother explain how he's pretty sure it's all going to get better.
That's why his hearing aid broke.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's right. Greg's laughing. Greg heard that enough to laugh at it. Yeah.
The truth will out.
He's turning it off. I can tell right now as we're speaking. All right. So we all.
Philabelli and St. Anne.
Philabelli. So Philabelli is February 27th. Lynn is going to be that's the last Thursday in February. Lynn will be sending out. For those of you, I'm going to look here to see who might not be on that list. Lois, good to see you. Your name. Courtney's name's not on it, of course, because she's not here. Kathy Rooney, your name's not on that list. And Jim LaBelle, your name's not on that list. So if you guys want to be on that list, let me know. Leanne, your name's not on the list either. Everyone else is. But there's those few people. If you want to be on our Philabelli list for serving a meal or participating in some other way, we're composting garbage. We need supports there and other ways. Lynn's going to have that in an email that will also be on the website and available for us. But there's several food items needed. Yeah, Lynn?
In our newsletter, my phone number will be in the newsletter. So if you don't hear from me in an email, or you know for sure you're not on the list, just send me a text.
Okay, I just got word from Jim LaBelle. Jim, I'm going to put your email up there for Lynn. Do you want a phone number also?
Yeah, put the phone number.
Phone number and email, if you would give.
Actually, text messages will work better.
Text messages are better for Lynn. And then we have St. Andrews.
Wait, is there a way to give without being there? I have a board meeting that night.
The
So those are
27th Thursday. Yes, you can contribute to EMC or to EMC Mindfulness at Venmo. You can.
I know, but just for the Philabelli on the 27th.
Yeah. Do you want to
Okay.
contribute like a food item, Leanne?
Well, I want to do whatever I can, but I
You
can't
can
be
do
there.
any of that. You can do
Okay.
money. You can do food. If you do food, we'll just coordinate. Lynn will coordinate.
Okay, money's easiest for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'll give. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. We're hoping to be able to help you too, Leanne.
Great. We could always welcome the help.
You can do what with the money?
So they have a collection of small toiletries.
Oh, the small toiletries. Anybody with small toiletries? In fact, thank you. I've got a bunch. I'll get those out. They're asking for that so that people don't have to, sometimes at showers for blessings, people bring a big shampoo. Nobody can fit that in the backpack. Right. So these little toiletries are better. They can take what they need. They can carry them and not be them having to drag around a giant bottle of Suave. That is too difficult and hard to manage. mail items somewhere. Courtney, could I mail items somewhere? Items like clothing or toiletries? Yes. Yeah, you can send it right to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have Libby make sure that Lynn gets that. Yes, thank you all. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, let's sit, offer our Bodhisattva prayer. Do you have to sign up to be a Bodhisattva to be one? Is there a list? Who's on it? Exactly. Who's not on it? We're all on it, actually. Does it look like we think it's supposed to look? No. Nope. No, it doesn't. Does it look like this moment and some kind of open-heartedness to myself and others in it? Yep. Yeah, it does. Certainly. So be careful what you think it is and isn't. More thinking, more thinking. It's bigger than all those thoughts. Here we go. And setting the body once again, and then opening the heart as wide. And you could imagine just a big, open, vast space all around. And then we remember that we are a part of that spaciousness. We are a part of that warmth. We are a part of that connection, whether we felt like it or not. And that's fine too. May I be a guard for those who seek protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. This is the truth of this gifted, precious human life. May we rest and dwell within those wide, vast, open arms. So be it. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to miss you all. I haven't been away in 11 years now for a length of time. So, right. I know we're all going to be fine and well. So thank you all for those well wishes for this journey I'll be on. I can't wait to come back and tell you all about it. I will be back on it's probably like the 3rd or 4th, a Tuesday. I don't think something like that. I think the Saturday we get back super late, and I think it's the Saturday, last Saturday of the month, something like that. So I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Be well, everyone. Be well. Love to you.
Have a wonderful time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.